want to do some other testing.
Okay.
By the way, hang out after.
Yep. So anyway, our stream is up on YouTube. So we'll be getting going here in just a second for those on with Podcast Movement.
20 hours.
Okay, we're live with Podcast Movement Virtual for the Blubrry podcasting demo. Everyone, thanks for being here. And of course, I've got my co-host, Mr. Mike Dell from Podcast Insider with me. Mike, how are you?
You doing, Todd? How about everybody at Podcast Movement Virtual?
Yeah. So today we're going to do a walkthrough of some of Blubrry podcasting and services. This is the second one of these we've done, so I think we'll get better at number 2. But first thing up, Mike, you're up first with your demo. You're going to be talking about PowerPress. You're going to be showing some settings, a quick overview of PowerPress, and then a demo of publishing with PowerPress and using the ability to be able to, let's see if I can get the right screen up here first. Let's see here. Where are you at? There we go. And you may want a full screen, Mike.
All right. We can do that. Figure out where to do it. There we go. Full screen. There we go.
Yeah,
how's that look?
That's a little better. All right. So take it away.
All right. Well, we're starting here with a relatively blank WordPress website. Of course, I have PowerPress installed. And it's our demo site that we use for the training and all that. So anyway, PowerPress is a plugin that you just add the regular plugins menu here. And when you get it, there's a new menu right here. And when you first install it, it puts you here to the getting started. And to set it up, do you have a podcast already? No or yes. Skip that part because it just takes you through all the basic settings you need. And then once it's all installed and you've got all your basic stuff filled out, you can go in here and tweak things. In this feeds section, there's a whole bunch of settings here to prevent other plugins and to put the right stuff in the headers and all that stuff. And your description and the title of your show. So if you ever need to change the title of the show, it's right there. And the description, we of course have all the Apple settings here. You can pick your categories, put in your author name, your author email, explicit tag, all that kind of stuff. But basically, we have all the stuff you need to get it on all the different directories. Of course, right here is our destination section. We have of course, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, a whole bunch of them here. We're going to be adding a couple more here in the next version. We've got Amazon and the podcast index. But the beauty of this is you just make a post just like you would on a normal WordPress site to create a podcast episode. So you just add a new post and you can title it whatever you want, episode 1, and you can make it more descriptive, obviously, and then you can put in your show notes and photos and I could spell, but put that there. You can add your regular photographic media. So if I want to put in a picture of somebody weaving a basket underwater, I can throw that in there, and it formats it however you want to do it. Whatever you do in WordPress, it's completely the same thing because blogging and podcasting is the same thing. And then to upload an episode, you simply come down here to the podcast episode box that PowerPress adds. Hit choose file, and see here, upload media file. Go select your file that you want to upload, and you want it to be an MP3, M4A, MP4 for video, or M4V for video. We do audio and video. Of course, you want to do audio podcasting and an audio feed, and video podcasting and a video feed, but it's the exact same technology. Hit verify, and it comes up nice and green like that. And that's if you're hosting with Blubrry. If you're hosting with another outfit, you can paste in the full URL and verify it there. Categorize it however you would normally, and hit publish. Once it's published, come to the website, and you can see that it is now published. We put the player in here, and we have a selection of other players. Has the links underneath. You can also have subscribe links underneath. There's also subscribe links here. PowerPress also gives you a widget for all the different destinations that you want to add here, and you can control which ones show here, which ones show under the player, and there's also a subscribe page that you can set up, and that would be here. And you can also control, say you want different ones here. It's very flexible, and it conforms to your theme pretty much. So, whatever design you have for your WordPress site, this integrates right with it. And for those of you that don't want to use WordPress, there's also another option that we can do here at Blubrry. You can you can set up your feed right here. We have all those same settings right here in the podcast settings. It has all the Apple settings. We can even name the file for you if you want to have a certain naming convention for your files, just to keep them straight. You can write the ID3 tags for you. All that happens right here. But once you get that all set up and you've uploaded your artwork, just create a new episode. Title it the same way we did in the other one. So let's say this is episode 2, and your great podcast, whatever. Show notes go in the big box here. Notes here. And you'll notice that when we click the uploader, it looks very much the same as the uploader that you saw before. And upload the file.
Something weird happened when that screen came up.
Yeah, it did. Usually it pops up in a window, but it works either which way. And once that's uploaded, the box will close, and you just hit publish. And in this case, there's not a website per se, but there is a directory listing for your show, and it would look something like that. It would, and if you click in there, you could see there's your show notes and subscribe links and all of that. So we could do all the same thing from Blubrry as you can do from PowerPress. PowerPress is a bit more powerful, but here's another alternative if you wanted to do it from here. And then you can go over here to manage episodes, and you can get that embedded player right here. Looks just like the player on WordPress. You can style it, change whatever colors around for these buttons, and has your image in here, not ours. Notice our logo doesn't show up anywhere here. So we just build the tools, get out of your way. Once you're happy with that player, you grab that embed code, and you can put that on just about any website that'll take a embedded iframe player, just like that.
Of course, that iframe player is similar to YouTube. So
yeah, it's exactly like what, if you can embed a YouTube video, you can embed our player.
I think the thing here, Mike, the takeaway for the audience that's watching today is that we're not limited to just WordPress and PowerPress. You can publish on our publisher, and then take that to whatever site you may have already, even if you don't have a content management system. A lot of businesses don't, so they use our online publisher, grab the embed, and just drop it over on their websites. A lot of some content management systems don't have any podcasting support, so the people publish on Blubrry itself. And again, we also give every hosting customer a free website. Free WordPress site. Yeah, free WordPress site. So, of course, all that information is available via the Blubrry.com website. You can let information on the hosting, the stats, and the plugin. But really, from a pure podcasting standpoint, It's really very, very simple. Once you've set up with WordPress and you basically own your brand, own your .com, it's create that blog post, upload that media, and hit publish, and you're done. And that initial setup, of course, is a little bit of time. But our tech support folks, which Mike is in charge of, you get stuck, you can call him. I mean, we've got phone support.
Right. We'll, get that set up. You have all your information handy. I've seen people set it up in as little as 30 minutes. It's usually less than that to get going, and then just tweak as you go. And and it's, like I said, it's beautiful. If you're used to WordPress, it's just WordPress plus some audio.
That's right. So anyway, that's the simple part of the publishing thing. I'll go a little bit deeper into the presentation here. Take us back over to blubrry.com. I'm going to talk about statistics a little bit. We do provide IAB certified compliant podcast statistics for all of our hosting customers. We were the first podcast hosting company to become IAB certified, along with ESPN at the same time. Today, there's an additional number of companies that have gotten certified, but we've been measuring podcasts since 2005. So we got a little bit of experience here. We have some cool things that a lot of other podcast companies don't. I just kind of want to focus in on that. Of course, we're going to give you, and the way this is designed is an onion. Basically, you get the top level view of your lifetime downloads. I've got September of 2020 selected here for a subset of information, just to give you kind of an eyeball of what happens as you dig deeper into this layers of onion. And when you get all the way to the center, you're down and looking at a specific episode. But you can see this particular show had 2,953 qualified IAB certified downloads in the month of September. There's a little bit of a difference here in us and any other company. We give you something called partial play data. So while you had 1,848 that were delivered 100%, probably those people were subscribed to the show. They got that podcast delivered within the first 12 or 14 hours that it was online. And then these partials were probably people that came in and clicked play later. So these partial downloads give you some insight into how far did they get in my episode before they kicked out. In this particular month, 500K to 25%, 500K of the file to 25% of the file size was delivered 634 times, 25 to 50, 134, 50 to 75, 59, 75 to 99, 278. And along with that just raw number, we also give you some great trending data, and I'll show you some deeper trending data a little later in this demo. But we give you month to month. So this is what this show's been doing month to month with the podcast. You can see it's had a little bit of a high, a little bit of a drop. And then you can actually see what's happened with this show day to day and where the ups and downs are for the show, and gives you a real insight into what's going on. We also give you a look at distribution, and it's basically broken down between mobile apps, web apps, podcatchers, bots, which we don't include in the grand total, stuff that we can't figure out, tablets and TV set-top boxes. Wow, a whole one person watches on a TV set-top box. But this is a full list that's exportable. Any of these reports are exportable through a CSV file. And then we get into platforms like iOS, Windows, Macintosh, Android, Linux, blog applications, Chromebook OS. Chromebook OS is starting to become super big now because so many kids are at home right now because of COVID-19. So they're attending.
A lot of schools are giving those out to the students.
That's right. So they've had, we've seen Chromebook OS actually see a bit of an increase. Now, clients is a little bit a bigger deal. And in this one here, there was 33 clients, different types of clients that downloaded the show. And you can see the full list. It goes everything from Chrome to iOS apps, Overcast, iTunes. And this was the last month that we actually measured Apple Watch. Apple Watch is no longer being measured as of October 1st. Due to some changes and some qualification stuff. Podcast Addict, Pocket Cast, Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Spotify for iOS. It just goes down and down, and you get this full client list. One of the reports that people like is this world view. They want to see where people are listening throughout the world. So you can hover around, and we know that we've got 90 people listening to the show down in Brazil. We've got 75 they've downloaded in Australia. We've got 59 in India. We've got 17 in South Africa. Even in Mongolia, some people listening. So one time I had someone listening in Antarctica, and I asked on my show who it was, and I found out it was a scientist down on the ice. And he would take the podcast with him when he was out exploring and doing stuff on the ice shelf. Another thing we have, of course, is the U.S. list. That's a full list. You can get it in a linear fashion or on a map. You can see we got part of the country that doesn't listen to the show, but parts that do. So you can break down where people are listening. We even got metro areas, which is 299 Nielsen metro areas. And you can see where people are listening to your podcast specifically within metros if you're going to be doing any targeting. We also have a Canada view. And we do this for some of our top markets, including Canada, UK, Brazil, Germany, and Mexico. We even got target and referral data that goes in there. But let me back up. Let's go up to September 2020 again. Let's grab one specific show. Let's just grab this one. And then what we have here is the ability to get hourly trending. We know what this show has done for the first 7 days hourly. So on an episode basis, we give you some insights on what happened and how that podcast was consumed in the first 7 hours that it was online. But the same stuff applies. We get a tighter breakdown now of clients. You can see just on this specific episode, Chrome Desktop was the king, and Overcast. And so you really get an idea on an episode-by-episode basis where people have downloaded and how they've accessed your show. So we also provide within the Blubrry ecosphere with the ability for you to run demographic surveys so that you can get a demographic handle on your show. So not only do you get the stats, you've got the demo survey to be able to tell where people, what the demographic of your show is and where they've listened to. So the next thing I want to demo is a product that we call the Network Plugin. The Network Plugin is designed as part of our Pro Hosting package. Pro Hosting is designed for individual shows that are growing or those that are building networks. Most of the folks that have taken advantage of the Network Plugin have done so because they've gotten multiple podcasts. We've had several networks launch with 20 or 30 shows or had 20 or 30 shows and needed a way to showcase them. So being a pro customer, we've got this very, very cool tool. And the demo site that we use is our own tech podcast network that Blubrry runs. And what I want to kind of explain here is this is pure WordPress. Everything that you see generated on these pages is done through some caching and also dynamically generated by what's called a shortcode. And we don't need to go into the details of how this is set up, but it's really easy to manage. And just to give an example now, we've got this stacked, this showcase of shows from the Tech Podcast Network, the newest to oldest, and this updates about every 3 hours. So the latest in tech news has got the newest episode on the platform. So episode 225, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War launch trailer. And this podcast is, was put out on the 27th of October, which is today. So a little bit of an excerpt of what's in the episode. We do not give you the full excerpt. We do link to the website that this podcast is published on. You can go over there and check it out directly. But this is just a great way to showcase one of the shows in the network. And again, my show was published last night. This is my personal show. And you can see previous episodes are linked. So you're going to say, okay, Todd, why do I need this? Well, this is just, again, a way to build a network presence on your website, even though maybe your podcasts are part of your network at a variety of different .coms. They can be published completely on this website. This is a full functional WordPress site, still with the ability to blog and do posts and put out podcasts. Here's some video podcasts that the team at Tech Podcast put out. We chose to have the landing page be the showcase of our network. Everything in the top here is just pure WordPress title and text, and then everything below this text is generated by shortcode. We even got the ability here to break this out by a list view. You can see newest to oldest in a list view, or we can even have it in a category view. So if you want to break it out by category, there's Mike's show, the Podcast Help Desk. He put it out an episode lately, Podcast Insider, one of ours. So you can go through and see the how-to category. Now, we've got categories that don't have that many. I think the devices category only has 2 shows in it. So shows can belong to more than one category. So you can set that up so that the categories don't look empty. But if you have a smaller network and you want to have the ability to, kind of break things down. But again, these are all pages that are dynamically generated with a shortcode put on the page. And I'm not going to get into the administrative piece of this today, but we've made it really, really simple to add shows and manage shows in that interface. We've got the ability for people to apply to be part of Tech Podcast. It's an open page. They can apply. We review those and then turn shows on and make them part of the network. So that's the ability to do that. You can set this behind a password page, or password loaded page, or you don't even need to show this page. You can manually add shows yourself. But this is just another tool that we give our pro hosting customers. For every show that is in your hosting account, it's free to have them as be part of on your showcase. If they're outside a network, let's say they're hosting with a competitor, then we do have a tiered fee based upon the number of shows. If you are wanting to have a show that's outside of your hosting platform to be able to be showcased here. So anyway, that's the network plugin. And just an oh, by the way, I did say this was newest to oldest. So the latest in tech news was the newest show that had this one here is RelativePath.uk. Their last show was in 2019. So you can see it's stacked newest to oldest in the stack here. That way we always keep the hottest, freshest content or hottest, freshest shows with new episodes at the top. And again, just another cool way to showcase podcasts. Now, what I want to do now is I need to switch systems here. And let's see here. Actually, what I need to do is I need to log out and then log back in here.
That network plugin, by the way, replaced an older piece of software that we had been running for years. And man, is that easier. It's WordPress. It's really good.
And a lot of the stuff that runs on Blubrry.com and runs on some of the same type of infrastructure. So it's all powered by Blubrry. We take care of updating the episodes and everything else that's going on there. So we're back in the Blubrry dashboard, and I'm going to show you our dynamic ad insertion product. This is a product that's for all pro hosting customers. They get the basic pre-roll ad injection as part of our pro package. Then if you want full ad insertion, which is the with the free, we give you pre-roll up to the last 50 episodes. With the full ad insertion, you get pre, mid-roll, and post-roll. You can, and again, on either system, you can run as many campaigns as you want. But let me just show you a little bit about the dynamic ad insertion system. So I had already set up a demo campaign from the last demo, and I'll kind of show that to you. So basically, we had the campaign start on the 26th, ends on the 31st. I've set it as a priority 10 campaign, meaning that's the highest priority, and you can set priority level based on campaign or based upon ads. I've got down here the programs that I want to add. I've got Geek News Central Special Media Feed, Podcaster News, Podcast Legends, and I can manage who are on these campaigns through the interface very simply. I can add or remove shows from a campaign just with a click of a button. Then on the advertisement side, I've got cross promotion already preloaded. It's basically an ad file that it's going to run as a pre-roll on all those programs, and it's going to basically promote another podcast. It doesn't have to be a sponsored ad spot. So this is purely a cross promotion. And there's no extra step for pre-roll, but if you're going to be running mid-roll ads with us, then we do have to work with you a little bit to talk to you about the formatting of your media files to get uploaded, because we do have markers that we have you place in your ID3 tags. But really, it's very simple to run our advertising system. Again, you can run multiple at once. I've just got one sitting here. If I want to add another one, I can do that. And I can set the priorities. I can, again, set pre-roll, post-roll. I can set a campaign that runs all the time. That's basically there if there's no advertiser, if there's no cross promotions, so that we keep something moving in the system. So, and I basically would set that as a 1. And that would be a date range that I would set for 2 or 3 years, maybe. Maybe all I want to do is just to do a network promo or a show promo, or, whatever that promo. And we can change that audio out at any time. And you can actually have it set up to run within specific sections of the actual campaign. So I can actually go down here, and you see I've got this pre-roll set from 10:26 to 10:31. I could change that and change the date to, let's say, 10:29, save it, come back out, and I could then add, let me go back, I could then add another audio ad and have it run the next set of dates. So it's really very, very powerful here on how we've configured this. Again, you got the option to do a pre-roll, mid-roll 1 through 10, a post-roll. It's very, very simple to use our ad insertion program. We built this for folks that want to self-manage their own ad campaigns. That really is the basis of it. We don't serve ads into this. This is for you to manage your show. And again, it's available as part of our Pro hosting package. Costs an additional $49 for the entire network to get the full ad system. And I must mention, Mike did the demo on PowerPress. PowerPress is free. Our hosting plans start at $12 a month, go all the way up to $80, and then move into the Pro category. So there's really a plan there for everyone. Unlimited bandwidth. You just pay for the storage each month. So that's how that is broken down. Another product that we've added to our lineup this year is called Private Internal Podcasting. Let's see if I can switch screens here without crashing anything. Why, golly, it worked just fine. So once again, I am back in the dashboard. I'm underneath our test program. We have a podcast network that we started, a private podcasting network. It's called Low Hanging Fruit Enterprises. I think you'll get a little kick out of that, considering we're blubrry.com. But it's the same type of menu, just that any podcaster would see for a specific show. You create episodes the same exact way. You manage what show you're working in the same way in the dashboard by just, you basically have the ability to pick what show you're operating under. So let's just do low-hanging fruit announcements. We'll come back to that show. But the administration of this is kind of unique, and we're actually going through a complete UI update right now. So in the near few months, you're going to see this complete dashboard make a complete resurgence. Mike, you've seen the new dashboard. It's pretty sexy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It brings us into the current decade.
Yeah, that's so right.
Pretty good.
So the private podcast admin is a little bit technical, but we just have some basic information here. We have the link to your private web app, and I'll demo that here in a minute. We have a link to our iOS and Android app. We've got some mobile instructions on here. But more importantly, we've got some stuff that you set up as an organization. You say it's low-hanging fruit enterprises. You set your colors. You upload your logos. And, of course, we've got some fun, goofy logos there for our little demo product. And then you put basically the information that you want to be on your private web app landing page. But more importantly here, you manage your shows. And you're going to notice in this list, we got one called the daily. So as you as a administrator, you may want to give your employees access to some public shows as well as private shows. So we've got a public show in there, and then we've got low-hanging fruit employee onboarding, low-hanging fruit from the corner office, monthly sales report, TPS report, and announcement. These are all turned on. They basically have assignments. In other words, each user is assigned a specific security level. So Aaron in our group, he's part of the executive group, so he gets access to the executive content. And then some of the folks only have staff as their settings. So users can be manually inputted through a spreadsheet being uploaded, or we can use OAuth. And let me look at, see if I can find authentication. Yeah, here's authentication. So we've got the ability to do manual, Samuel, or OAuth, or OpenID, to be able to authenticate with this system. And again, private internal podcasting is, again, for companies that want to put out information that they don't want basically being made public. It may be a sales report, training,
At our highest security, you can get it to where it doesn't even download the file to the person's device.
That's right.
So it can't be shared. They can stream it only. And that's something that I don't believe any other company does currently.
Right. And it technically at that point no longer becomes a podcast. And you can see here that we have security level low, high, highest, medium. And we have definitions for those security levels, which we're happy to discuss in explicit detail to tell you what they do and do not do. So the higher you go in security, the less number of devices and things that you can have access to simply because of the security. So got the ability to set up groups. So I'm getting real deep in the weeds here, but I think the most important thing is take you over to the private web app. This is a web app that will work on a mobile phone. It'll squeeze right down and you can come to it and log in. You can authenticate with your username and password, whether it be a straight username password or OAuth or Samuel. And you can consume the content that we have here. So let's do the low-hanging fruit employee onboarding. And we've got a couple of episodes here. And you can go ahead and play it right in the system. Now, one thing that folks should also realize is podcasting still has the ability to do video. So we've got one of these is an actual video. This should start. You can see that it can actually, I don't think you see that on the screen. There it goes. So you can actually see video that would be delivered again privately. So again, this is our low-hanging fruit private web app, and it can be used on mobile, or again, we go right back to more of a web view to be able to watch or listen to content. You can notice down here the little player is still running. I can expand that and keep running it. But we have two apps. We have a Android and iOS app that you can utilize as part of your plan for this private internal podcasting product that we have. So that really is, something that's a very powerful product that we're finding right now that customers are loving. A variety of use cases there. You just never know. So let me go back to my list here. I've talked about the network plugin, talked about private web app, I've talked about private internal podcast, and we've covered ad injection. We've talked about statistics. Mike, you did a demo of the publisher. You did a demo of some of the basic PowerPress settings. I think we're through. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, we have some other free stuff that we give to the community.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like subscribe on Android, subscribe by email, and Podcast Mirror. Those are the three main ones. Oh, and Cast Feed Validator, of course.
That's right. So let me see here. Let me go ahead and switch. Now, let's talk. We've got a few minutes here. So why don't you talk a little bit, Mike, about Podcast Mirror?
Yeah, Podcast Mirror. Back in the old days, everybody was using FeedBurner as kind of a feed caching service. Well, Google bought it, and Google hasn't done a whole lot with it. In fact, probably nothing in the last 10 years anyway. And so we figured we needed something like that was a lot more modern, updated, kept up with all the trends. And what's cool about it is, say you're hosting on a site or a service that you're not too sure about. So you want to start your show, and you're going to try this other place out. So you come here and you create a feed with Podcast Mirror. You submit that to all the directories. Then everybody subscribes to that. And then later on, say you want to switch to Blubrry, a real hosting company, you just flip the switch at Mirror, and you don't have to go to Apple and Google and Stitcher and everybody and tell them that you changed, and all your subscribers stay the same. The other cool thing is say you're on a website that just can't handle the traffic. You're getting too popular. Well, you could take a lot of that traffic off by caching your feed with Podcast Mirror. And Podcast Mirror is a free service. We do that for the community.
So Cast Feed Validator is another product that maybe some of you have used and didn't, or maybe you haven't used. It's a great way to validate your podcast feed. So let me come back to the web view, and let me go over to my personal website. I haven't done this in a while, so we'll see if my feed is actually still good to go. So I'm going to copy that.
Live demos are dangerous.
Yes, live demos are dangerous. So I'm going to copy in my personal show's podcast feed, geeknewscentral.com/podcast.xml, and I'm going ahead and start the validation. So it's going to go through and run a test on my show. It always complains about my caching, says I have too much caching, but meanwhile, everything's checked. Well, it's still doing the website test. So we'll wait till it gets done. So it's still looking. It goes into a lot of detail. It actually gives you an explanation of some of the things that's looked for. And it really gives you a peace of mind that if you're even having hints that there might be a problem with your feed on Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, you can come back over here to castfeedvalidator.com and you can run your RSS feed through there to see if it is an issue. Now, if you don't know what your feed is, we've got the real ability here to find your feed. So let's try. I'm going to try a new one here, Mike. So again, live demo is very dangerous. So here's the new media show. Here's a show that I do with Rob Greenlee. And I just want to validate this feed. I want to see if this feed's going to be good. So I can go through. I canceled it. It automatically was running it. So it's going to run through. And so I was able to find my feed by basically going over to the Find Your Feed function within Cast Feed Validator.
Yeah, and this validator, there's other validators out there for RSS, but this is the only validator out there that is specifically for podcasting.
So if I go back and look at this, I looked at my test. Oh, it tells me I have an ID3 tag missing, so something I can go and look at. Doesn't mean that the feed is bad. It's just giving me a warning that I need to look at the ID3 tag in one of my media files.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and look at Subscribe on Android. We introduced this about 5 years ago, and before Google Podcasts was really in the space. You'll notice if you come over to my website at geeknewscentral.com, there's this ability over here. It says Android on the sidebar. You got Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Android. So if you have an Android user that might be a little bit lost, or maybe they've loaded a podcast app that supports Subscribe on Android, and let me explain what's happening here. All these apps, Podcast Addict, Podcast Republic, Simple Podcatcher, Podcatcher Deluxe, all these apps support one-click Subscribe on Android. And what the function is if they have one of these apps loaded and they click on the Android link that we provide, it's just like subscribing to an Apple Podcast in the Apple Podcast app or a podcast in the Apple Podcast app. It's one click to load the app, another click to subscribe. Same thing with Subscribe on Android. It'll load the specific app that you have, one of these supported apps, and you'll be able to one-click subscribe. Now, if your listener doesn't have a podcast app yet, and they've clicked on Subscribe on Android link, we'll bring them to this page, and they can actually then install the app right from our webpage so that and again, this is mobile ready. So someone comes over here with a mobile phone, they're going to be able to get in and they're going to be able to see what's going on and be able to get an app so that a listener can subscribe to your show on Android. So this is a product that's been widely successful for our podcasters to use to gain Android market share, even in the age of Google Podcasts. Now, Google Podcasts is definitely competing, but we still have literally millions of people that click on the Subscribe on Android link every week.
Right, and if you're on a place that doesn't have Subscribe on Android implemented, for your show, you can get your own link. You go down to the bottom and you put in your feed address. I think you got to put the feed address in up top, but down at the bottom you can grab a button or a link to make a Subscribe on Android link that you can put on your website.
That's right. So you're able to create that button, and it's right down there in the bottom, a button or a link to add to your website and to be able to subscribe on Android. Now I'm just on my desktop, so I can't really demo this on how this works unless I had the Android device loaded. But this is really slick. Now, the last product that we have that we launched about the time we launched on Subscribe on Android, we kind of thought, well, this was one of our CIO's pet projects, and he thought it would be cool if people could subscribe and get a notification via email when a new podcast was out. And I said, no, but no one's going to use this. And I was proven wrong. We have literally thousands and thousands of listeners that are subscribed by email, so that when your new episode comes out, it actually emails them with a link to the episode that leads back and plays so that they can hear your podcast if they've gotten your update via email. Now, we don't allow you to get the emailing list for this. You have to collect your own emails. This is a service we provide to listeners.
This is mainly for listeners. And one of the big use cases for it, especially this year, has been faith-based podcasts, sermon podcasts, because a lot of the people, that a lot of the people that would be interested in that aren't real tech savvy, but they do have email.
Right.
So they get them to sign up via email to the subscribe by email. And then when the sermon comes out, they get an email, they click it, and they can listen. And they don't have to think about loading an app or anything else. It's really cool that way.
Now, they can get the email on their phone or on their desktop, and it'll work either way. They just click on it and play, and you get credit for a listen or for a download, and you give the individual the option to be able to, get the podcast via email. So it's kind of a unique thing in the podcasting space, only offered by Blubrry. And again, another thing that makes it added value for you to come over and consider Blubrry Podcasting as your hosting company. Now, we've got lots of great detail on our website. We've got information about podcast hosting and statistics. We've got a detailed breakdown of our pricing. We've even got a calculator now. So, Mike, let's show them the calculator. I think the calculator is pretty cool. So if you're a new podcaster and you're watching this and you have no idea which plan to buy, you're saying, well, Todd, I'm going to do 2 episodes a month, and they're going to be 30 minutes long each. So I can go ahead and get a plan estimate that says, hey, you're good for our $12 plan. Or if I say I'm going to do 4 episodes a month, and they're going to be 60 minutes long, I can get a plan estimate that gets them in the $20 range. Now, if they're going to be a super podcaster and they're going to go to let's say they're going to go to 20 episodes a month, and they're going to go 60 minutes per episode, again, I broke it. How about that? Live demo, I broke it.
That should go to the pro.
It should go to the pro. So we went over. So there's a bug. We found a bug during the demo. So if you're doing 20 per month at 30 minutes per episode, you're up on our $80 plan. So the calculator gives you the estimation of which plan you need. Now, we've got something right now where you can do an overage of our plans, and so that allows you to go over our monthly allotted amount of storage we give you, and no one else offers that. It's sometimes if you run up on, you're going to do a 5th episode per month and you need just a little bit more, we give you a little bit of overage allowance on our hosting plans. Same thing, more information about statistics, more information about PowerPress, all at blubrry.com, and our brand new design. And I would also encourage you, if you want to learn more about Blubrry, we've got a great history, and we've been in this business since 2005. And on our About page, we've got really some timeline of what we've done over the years and what we've brought to the podcasting space. So I hope that you'll go look at our About page. I'm quite proud of this. You can even meet the Blubrry team. You can see the diversity in the company, how we've and each of the team members and what they do, and some of the podcasts that they like. It's all in alphabetical order. So here's Mike. Mike's on here. Here's me. And again, you get to meet the entire team. Angelo, our CIO, he's a little behind on getting his picture in his bio, but that'll be updated.
He's busy doing other stuff, apparently.
Yeah. So you can meet the team and get some history about us at blubrry.com/about, and see who is who at Blubrry. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we got it.
Well, this is perfect. So I'm going to check the chat. Of course, I didn't check the chat on the website. Did you, Mike? Have you
Yes, I'm on Podcast Movement. And
Did we get any
didn't
questions?
see any questions?
All
No.
right, awesome. Let me go ahead and look at Facebook. I don't think we had any questions there. I'm going to look at YouTube and see if we had any questions on YouTube. Oh, we had quite a few viewers on all the platforms, so that's good. All right, we're going to get out of here. But again, I'm Todd at Blubrry.com. Mike is Mike at Blubrry.com. If you've got any questions for us, you can always send it to us or sales at Blubrry.com. Yeah. And thanks for being with us today.